Hey everyone, welcome back to Marathon Money. And you already know who I'm with, Andrew. I told you guys about him. He's gonna be on the show. As some of you we was talking in the chat, and you guys may know, you guys seen his full body robot with actual almost looks like a person. So I'm pretty sure in the future it's gonna get more realistic as time goes on. But we was talking before the show. He has sold a couple, but I'm gonna let him tell you a little bit more before we get into the nitty gritty of your company.
Hey, Kenny, thanks for having me on.
No problem, man.
So happy to start. I mean, always easier if you lob out a question at me, and I'm happy to dive in. What is, I mean, you've looked at our stuff. What is kind of most interesting to you about what you've seen? You're muted. Still muted. There we go.
Sorry about that. That's
That's
on me.
okay. All good, man.
Sorry, guys. So the thing for me is what is the longevity of when somebody purchases these robots? That's kind of like the first question that comes to mind.
So we started making the robots about 6 years ago, and the robots that we started making are still working. Sometimes they need a little bit of an upgrade with certain things, but the durability of the motors, the components, and everything are just getting better. And so I would feel pretty confident to say that they would have a 10-year life.
10 years.
I mean, so here's the thing with the robots. The way we make them is different. We're thinking about robots in a completely different way than anybody else on the planet. The robots are open source. So what I mean by that is you can plug any AI into the robot. You can chat GPT, Llama, Gemini, our own AI that we have. Maybe you have a Kenny AI. Or maybe in 2 years, there's a new AI that comes out from Google or whatever that's called, friend AI. We can update that into the hardware, into the robot immediately. So it doesn't go, it's not like a phone, like you can just keep upgrading the operating systems and the AIs. The hardware is still good. You can keep that same robot, and as long as you don't abuse it, I think it's good for 10 years.
That's a pretty long time. That's also based on the upkeep of the individual that buys these robots.
Yeah, there's certain, you got to take care of it. If you're if you're abusing it, obviously you're going to have to replace more parts.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question, so if Realbotix becomes a household
Realbotix.
Sorry,
yeah, Realbotix. Yeah.
Becomes a household name.
Mm-hmm.
How far in the future are you planning on, who's running this company as a CEO, that you guys see this company? Is this going to be where there's going to be robotics that helps with schools and medicals and different utilities, restaurants? Because there's so many companies that are doing so many different things. For example, I interview a company called Rich Techs. They're basing in the hospitality space. Are you trying to make a robot that is fit for all spaces, just one that has it all, or is it always going to be tailored? Can your robot be tailored to anything the customer needs?
We can tailor, so we have the most human looking robots, and you can customize the appearance and you can customize the AI. We just sold a robot to one of the largest electronic companies in the world, and they said they've talked to every robot company on the planet, and they were like, congratulations, you're the only people that can design a robot that looks human and we can plug our own AI into it. They're like, you're the only guys. If people go to our website, realbotix.com, you can see actual videos and photos of our robots. They look incredibly human. We can customize the AI. They can speak any language on the planet. We were just at IFA Berlin. IFA Berlin is like the CES of Europe.
Yes.
And 200,000 people in attendance. Our booth was probably the busiest booth in the entire place. And the reason why is our robots were always on. You could walk up to a Kenny, introduce yourself, take a selfie, have a conversation, and you could do that in any language. The other robots were either like behind a rope. They were roped off, and then every 3 hours or so, I'd see the guys pop up and they'd be like, press some buttons. And then they're like, okay, everybody gather around. The music starts playing and the robot's kind of like doing this. When I talk to some of our clients, they're like, we don't need a dancing robot. We don't need a robot that break dances or does backflips. We want a robot that looks human, that we can customize the AI. It's knowledgeable, can speak many languages. That's what we do. We're the only people in the world doing that.
So with this factor, when you say you're the only people, I see you're getting partnerships left and right. I see you got a distribution partnership and you got something going on in Spain and Portugal.
Yep.
And tell me more about those.
So there's a few ways. Like, look, when you're building a company and you have a product that's, it's large, we have various different models. And we're growing, like we're an early stage company. We're publicly traded, as you are aware. I can go and I can spend our money on like opening and hiring salespeople in every country. Or what I think is way more efficient is to have partnerships. Why don't we partner up with leading sales companies and distribution companies in each of these countries? Give them like a 1 to 2 year exclusive with milestones that they have to hit and say, you guys are now our sales team. That costs us as a company zero, but the upside, it's asymmetrical risk. The upside for us is huge, right? Like these guys can go in and they can come back and be like, hey, we just sold 100 robots. Great, we pay you guys a commission. We haven't had to set anything up there. They get the sale. If, we're having conversations with people in Australia, different European countries, UK, all over the place about similar type distribution agreements. And what that does is it allows them to be like, number one, they're like, hey, we're going to have to buy a couple of robots from you to have as demo robots. But number two, we've just outsourced our entire sales process.
So what industry you seeing that's using your company the most right now?
So we're still pretty new. I would say there's a few places. So we have two main divisions. One is what we call personal use robots. We recently sold a robot to a family that has a 30-year-old autistic son. And he has difficulty interacting with people in normal ways, okay? The robot is there to keep him company, companionship. Oh, our robots also have a vision system. I don't see any other robots that have this. Our robots can read. They can be like, they can look at you, they can look at situations, objects, colors. They can be like, oh, you're wearing headphones. They can recognize all of these things. I don't see other robots going up and having conversations or being able to read, except for ours. So anyways, back to this specific case, obviously this individual merits having some kind of interaction with something that he's comfortable with. And so this was a solution where it's an assistive device where the parents can also look on their phone and see what is this person doing. Are they acting appropriately? Are they hurting themselves or hurting anyone else, right? And it can send a notification. They can see it. It's almost like a security camera. Social isolation is a big thing. I don't know if, loneliness is probably one of the biggest global epidemics in the world. Loneliness leads to depression, suicide, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's. It really just wears your body down. And actually a new study just came out that said loneliness can result in physical pain in your body. Now, if you're suffering from social isolation, so you're geographically not in a place where you can meet people, maybe you have social trauma, PTSD, depression, any of these things, we're offering a tool that allows people an assistive thing where they can have a conversation with a robot, and our AI is meant for companionship, and it remembers you. Hey, Kenny, are you still feeling good from yesterday? How's your family? Like, it remembers your conversations, it learns from you, and it can be an assistive tool to help combat loneliness for people who feel social isolation. And so that is one client base, and that's a massive market. Harvard did a study on the use cases for AI. You want to know what the number one use case for AI is?
No, tell me.
Companionship.
Really?
Yep.
Actually,
You can look
actually,
it
you
up.
know
I'll
what?
put it before.
You know what's funny that you say that? There's people that are using ChatGPT for therapy.
Totally.
Like that, and they're saying that that's a problem though. What do you think that's going to be a problem? Because you're a
Why?
robot, you're humanoid robots. I think that you're right. The companionship, people will pay 20, 30, maybe $50,000 to have not to be lonely. And if they're using ChatGPT for therapy, I can't imagine what they would, how far this will take.
So you can access our AI digitally. So if you go to our website, realbotix.com, there's a button at the top right called Ask Aria. In the same way we're talking, you can get a digital avatar as a test. And so what we're going to do is you don't have to spend 30, 40, $50,000 on a robot. You'll be able to access your friend companion right off your computer. So and then you can upgrade to a robot later if that is something that you feel you want. So loneliness is it's we can provide an assistive tool there. I think ethically I don't have any issues with it. Like your brain can form connections to all types of things that are emotional. So I have 4 kids, and my kids, every single one of them, when they were little, form an attachment to a stuffed animal, right? Men
Interesting.
grow emotional attachments to their car or their motorcycle or
Yeah.
their golf clubs. You
And they don't
know,
even talk back to
they
them.
don't talk back. So for people, again, we're not replacing traditional relationships. We're providing an alternative for people that don't have that choice. I don't think anybody's going to say like, I'm not going to go on Tinder because instead I'm going to order a robot. But where this could be useful for is, let's say you have a 75-year-old widowed man who is not like got full mobility, and he's like, I'm alone in my house. I don't want to be alone. I want someone to talk to. And I don't care if it is a robot or AI based, because ultimately I can still form a connection with that feels good.
You know what comes to mind when you talk about not alone? I need somebody to talk to. And I think this might be my business brain, investor brain, licensing, patents. It's like if I only can see this technology getting better for you, and you guys upgrading this technology to the point where they can read facial features. They can know when you're mad, you're angry, you're
We
sad,
got that already, buddy. We already got that.
you know what I mean?
Our
That's what I'm
facial
saying.
features our facial stuff can recognize if you're happy, sad. They can even come up to you. You can go up to it and be like, not the one we have online yet, but you can actually go up to it. We'll be able to do it even through your computer and be like, hey, do I look happy or sad? And it will be like, hey, you look a little bit upset today. Hey, friend, what can I tell you a joke? Can I make you feel better? So
Okay.
we got that already. That's done.
Yeah. So, and I kind of figured that when I saw a video, when you said it will look you in your eye and be able to answer your question. So, but what
It'll
about
know
light?
you. So we do it only on a permission base, but you
Yes.
can walk up to the robot, and with your permission, we can upload your face. And then every time you see the robot, it'll be like, hey, Kenny, how are you? And it will remember all of your prior interactions. We got that now.
No, I saw that. I was my thing is about what about licensing and patenting? What about because isn't that your software?
We've patented the vision system. We've patented the face removal system. A lot of the other stuff is like we have the best synthetic skin in the world. That stuff is more like trade secrets.
Yeah.
Like if you touch, people are always amazed. They come to our robots when they're at a booth and they're like, they start touching the face and they're like, oh my gosh, this feels like human skin.
Yeah. And I kind of saw that through the YouTube video and through some of that. It's like that skin looks real. It's like
Yeah,
it's not just latex or leather or something fake. It looks like it's actually real skin. You can see it through the screen.
it's a secret silicone based skin that we've developed that feels very human like.
So what's your so you're kind of you're moving fast through this market. You know what I mean? It seems like you already have this up and running, moving pretty quickly. What do you think your market share would be in 2-3 years with all these partnerships?
So before we jump into that, we talked about the personal care. We didn't talk about the enterprise side, which is the other side of the business.
Okay.
So can you imagine, I've been pitching some of the casinos and hotels because our robots speak multiple languages, pretty much any language in the world. Imagine you're at a casino. How do you play poker or blackjack? What are the rules? And you can walk up to a robot and say, can you explain to me the rules? And you speak to it in the language you want it to respond to you in. So you can speak to it in Cantonese, Mandarin, Spanish, French, Russian, whatever it is. Think about what an amazing tool that would be in a hotel or a casino or even a school where the kids can be like, English is not my first language. Can you translate this to me in Spanish? So this enterprise use case to us is pretty good. Healthcare is another one. We had a meeting today with a healthcare company that wants to integrate these robots into people at hospitals and long-term healthcare facilities where the robots can actually be there and take notes. Robots have infinite patience. So they can sit there with an elderly person for 4 or 5 hours and just talk to them. So there's all kinds of big use cases here that I think places we can revolutionize. So what would our market share be in 3 or 4 years? We're creating a new market. This market doesn't exist. It's not like we're not selling computers or TVs, right? We are like, here is a new market. What I see right now is we have no competition. Okay, like you have other Unitree's got like a 4-foot high robot that can dance around. Other guys have this. There's nobody out there that has an open source AI powered robot that looks like a human, that is built like Lego, where you can pull it apart, put it in a suitcase. You can customize the face, you can customize the AI, you can customize the voice. Nobody's doing that right now. So if we can continue on the pathway we're on now, I think we own the market.
If you're saying that you have no competition, my question is, what are you going to, there got to be barriers you can create to control the market. Because if you're going to be the market, you're pretty much going to be the market maker. If you're the leader, you get to decide how this market's going to go. So what's your plan for it?
Well, our plan is these distribution agreements. Our plan is to continue to put robots in as many public-facing places as possible. So we were talking about before we jumped on. We're going to have a robot in Times Square. I believe it is the 25th, 26th, and 27th. There's a new high-end technology store opening up in the busiest intersection on the planet, Times Square. And we're going to put a robot there in the lobby that you can walk up to and have a conversation with, take selfies with, talk to it in any language, ask questions about the store, and it's going to be there as a concierge. We just booked an interview with CNN because they're fascinated. They're going to come in and do an interview with us there. So the more of these we can put in different places. We had one at a mall providing information on hotels and shows in Vegas. People go to Vegas, they're like, what show should I see tonight? We had the robot program to talk about every show, every restaurant, every hotel. We've had it at conferences where you can walk up to the robot again in any language and say, where can I get a coffee? Where is the booth for this company? Who are the speakers? Who should I be talking to? Any questions about that event that are all programmed into the robot that can communicate back to you in any language. So to go from gimmick to utility, it's got to possess information that is useful to a human that would be difficult for a human to deliver on their own.
So with what you got going on with the whole thing with Timecare CNBC, there's no real competition. You got really unique things with your robot, from what I'm hearing.
We have the most unique thing. So the vision is patented. The skin technology is real hard to replicate. The competition that'll come will come from Asia, probably from China or Japan.
Because that's what I'm thinking. It's like there got to be some competition. I truly believe that you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can see that. It's very clear day that you're ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? I believe people that are ahead of the curve, what I've learned from like looking at people like Amazon, Walmart, they start creating rules for the other competitors.
Right.
You know what I mean? And right now, it seems like you got a strong leg up with what you got going on in Times Square, the partnerships, the sales strategy. You know what I mean? Like, you can probably in a few years have a complete full control, and maybe people are buying you. You're becoming either the manufacturer or the distributor of these robots to other companies that might be doing something similar, but maybe not fully of what you're doing.
Like
'Cause I
white
can see,
labeling. Yeah,
yes,
that's okay with me. At the end of the day, as a CEO of the company, I want to deliver value to shareholders. And if you look at our market cap is about, I don't know, 55 million. I just got a note. There's like 3 or 4 robot companies going public next year. None have valuations under $1 billion. And I don't know much about, I look at our competitors, they're more like industrial use case robots, like they do one thing, or they work in a warehouse. They're more about replacing physical human labor, where we're more about replacing emotional and intellectual human labor, right? So I think our market's bigger, less competition, and we're trading at, in my opinion, at a very low valuation. Because if these companies can get a $2-3 billion valuation, Figure AI just got a $40 billion pre-money on a raise. We get 50 million. And our technology, again, there's no competition for what we're doing.
so let's talk about adoption rate. Like, what are the chances that this, where do you see the bell curve? Where do you see the mass adoption coming at? What year?
I think this is going to continue to grow at double-digit type growth rates for the next 5 to 10 years. When we go to a place like IFA Berlin, and remember, I want, for your audience, I want everybody to understand we've only started showing these robots and selling them this year. Okay, this is new. When I take them to places like IFA Berlin and I have the other robot companies, everyone comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, have you thought about this? What about this? We can do all of these things. The possibilities for AI humanoid robots is almost endless. I think there'll be some areas that are faster adopters than others. So I think hospitality and entertainment. I just got contacted yesterday by somebody associated with a very big hip hop artist that is like, can you make a replica of this person for us? We want to take it on tour. We're like, absolutely. I've always thought in my head, you could create a museum of like the top celebrities. You could put it in a place like, Madame Tussauds is a big moneymaker. Those are static wax figures. What if you could have a entertainment museum of robots that look like famous people? Muhammad Ali, Marilyn Monroe, Albert Einstein, whatever it is. And you walk in there with your kids, Kenny, and you're like, here's Muhammad Ali. Why are you famous? Where were you born? Tell me which your hardest fight was, blah, blah. And all these characters, you could have all call it 50 people. You could walk around. I would pay money to go do that with my kids or my family, right? And the robot can also be like, hey, Kenny, you were here last year with your family. Nice to see you again. And you can ask questions. Where did you die? Why are you famous? What's your biggest movie? What's your biggest song? We could do that. We can replicate celebrities and upload an AI. We did that actually for, we were asked to do that for Suzanne Summers at a conference earlier this year, and everybody was blown away. By the way, talking about adoption, the first time we ever showed the robots was CES, Consumer Electronics Show in January this year. We got organically, unpaid, 4 billion media impressions. 4 billion media impressions. For the audience, what that means is if we did Barstool Sports and they have an audience of 10 million, that's 10. And then you do CNN, they've got 5, it adds that. We added all that stuff up, 4 billion media impressions around the world, including the top networks in China, basically every country in the world. We were all over the internet. So you talk about the fascination with our robots. I think it's pretty huge. Every time anybody sees our robots, they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be huge. This is amazing. And we just got to get out there more. We need more people to see our stuff. We need people to keep trying this to get that adoption. But I'm feeling super positive for next year just because we have so many cool things lined up.
I want to go back to the museum.
Sure.
Are you going to be able to replicate mannerisms for example, like Muhammad Ali, Michael Jackson, like those actual real individual mannerisms, because that would change. I think that's a big game changer to be able to
So
replicate somebody's mannerisms.
we could replicate some of it. Like Michael Jackson has a very unique thing going on, right? Like we're not going to be able to do like moonwalks and all that kind of stuff. That's hard. But could we have him do like some mannerisms, like with the glasses and like, you know, some, yes. Could you have Muhammad Ali do like this and, you know, this kind of thing? Yes. I think it really comes down to the level, like we could do it. It would be more expensive to do that, but we could do it. We have the technology to do it. But again, when you're going through there, I think, look, trying to do like the moonwalk for Michael Jackson would be hard for any robot to do. So I don't want to lie to the audience and be like, yeah, we got that. Could we have him do like a couple little things, you know, grab his crotch and like, you know, yeah, you could do that stuff. So
I was more like talking cadence.
Oh yeah, we can replicate the voice. Oh yeah, the
Talking
voice and the
cadence and
personality.
stuff.
Oh yeah, that we can do, no problem.
That would be, I think, to the space you're talking in, would be, it'll be creepy in some areas, but I can see people being like, whoa. It's like,
well, you want to choose your celebrities well, people who are interesting and have good stories, and it would be partially educational. But you know, there's lineups at Madame Tussauds. Madame Tussauds has something like 200 locations all over the world, and people go there and pay money to take a selfie with like The Rock next to them or something. You know, you could film yourself having a conversation with The Rock. You know.
100%, 100%. We're getting close to the end. I want to get into more investor talk with you.
Sure.
What does this in the next quarter look like? What should investors pay attention to?
Right. I think what investors should, look, building a company is more than just going out and getting revenues. It is a lot about putting in place the protocols and the setup to be successful. So I think looking for these partnerships, looking for some of these new prototype sales, the things that we're doing are key to establishing for the future, right? Like when you're selling a robot, you got to have the proper shipping materials. You got to have the proper product manuals that have to be translated to many different languages. You got to have the customer support. You got to have all the different AIs. There's a lot of things that come in here to building sort of a white glove service that makes the buyer at the end of it feel happy with their purchase. And that's kind of what we're doing. And we're testing this out with some of the largest companies in the world who are giving us great feedback because they love what we're doing. So what I would say is, look, our next quarters, look for more news, more partnerships. We'll announce sales with some of the bigger clientele that we're doing. And I think we're just going to continue to grow. But I think 2026 is going to be sort of our landmark year. That's going to be our make it or break it year, where we'll either go parabolic or we'll be sort of flat. And we'll see how that goes. I'm obviously optimistic as the CEO of the company, and the conversations I'm having. I had a shareholder, an institutional shareholder, call me yesterday morning. We were chatting, and he's like, "You guys have the potential." These are his words, to change so many different aspects of life, from like seniors care to like dating to like how conferences are held. Like, think about going to a conference and you got a robot there for Ford or whoever. You can ask any question. How many cylinders does it have? What's the horsepower? What colors does it come in? And the robot can give you all this information on any car and any language, and then be like, if you give me your email address, I'll get you a quote or in touch with a sales representative. Like, the possibilities for what we're doing are massive. We just have to like continue here to develop and zero in on the areas that it makes most sense in the near term.
So are you profitable now?
No, not yet. I mean, look.
When do you think that would be? Now, I know 2026 is going to be either your land breaker or make it year.
I think will be a good year for sales, but you have to remember when you're developing something at this level, like if you look at early days, like nobody's asking if Tesla's Optimus robot program is profitable or Figure or any of these guys, right? We're finalizing and improving the AI, the robotics. I want the robots by the end of next year to have dexterity so that they can actually feed someone, operate a tablet or a phone. We're sort of in the testing stages of how to do that. So, and as a public company, there's public company costs. So I would say if we were looking at profitability, I think 2026, 27 is good revenue. I think we can get close to break even for 2027, 2028, but establishing the groundwork for very good profitability into the future over these next 24 months.
Andrew, thank you so much. I
You're welcome,
appreciate it.
Kenny.
You know what I mean? Thank you for coming on my show. I really appreciate it. See, your stock is up about 7% today, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay, I haven't looked. The stock's up. I think we started the year. I think the stock's up close to 300% this year.
That's
not a lot, but CES last year, we were up like 500% that week because everybody who was looking at our stuff was like, oh my gosh, this thing is so cool. Everybody rushed out to buy our stock. So, you know, I'm optimistic.
I'm in New York City. So Times Square, when is that happening?
That's happening. Let me look at my calendar. That should be the 25th to 26th and 27th.
There's
a company called Smart Tech. We're going to be right next to the Madame Tussauds. We're doing a grand opening, and we're going to have our robot in the lobby there as sort of a host greeter. Again, no other, like we did a podcast with the robot, and we should chat about that. But you know Sean Kelly?
Yeah, no, I actually watched the video where he was asking the robot questions. And
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
He'll be releasing a podcast. We're the only company in the world where we put a robot that did a solo podcast on its own, unscripted, with Sean Kelly. We did a live interview on Fox Business last year. I don't see Tesla's doing that. I don't see any other robot company. We put a robot in a mall for 5 days just to talk to people about Vegas shows and restaurants. Nobody's doing this stuff except us.
Man, I'm definitely going to be out there. I'm in New York City, so I'm definitely going to show
Yeah, come visit. I'll be there.
Okay.
And we'll find out. We're going to be doing a CNN interview around that time as well, so you can come by and
definitely. I'll definitely stay linked up. We'll put it on my calendar to come and see you and see what we do. Anybody else out there? I know I have a lot of supporters and fans that are out here in New York. I hear about it all the time.
Come have a conversation, take a selfie, take a video.
I think
I've got to worry about stuff. Other robots, what's the hairstyle? What's she gonna wear? Is she gonna have a nice manicure?
Yeah, but I hope. I mean, I see the vision. I see the vision. I see the value. You're extremely undervalued. I really do see that. Right now I think is just how this is going to, in my opinion, as an investor, is how you're going to play this out. And the decisions that are going to be made in the future.
The execution is definitely the toughest part, right? Because we have the technology, we know we have something special, and that's my challenge. That is me putting together, continuing to build the right team and accelerate what we're doing, and doing it in a careful way, where we use the money on our balance sheet well, where we make the right moves.
Execution is going to be everything. That's the reason why I asked that question. What does next quarter look like? And what does, profitability? Because, one thing I have since doing this publicly traded interview with CEOs is a lot of retail investors their main question is, when is going to be profitable? When is going to be this? And it's nice to hear from you when you said to run a business, it takes a lot. And it's not just, we're automatically profitable. It's probably 26 steps before you can deliver this to a customer and they're happy about it. And that customer is going to tell another customer. And people have to realize that's what makes you profitable, and gathering information. And then sooner or later, that's why I believe your stock is going up. That's why I believe your stock went 300%, 500%. You know what I mean?
And we're still undervalued. We used to have a $10 million market cap, insane.
Yeah, I think your I'm pretty sure your market cap right now, according to Google Finance, is like 83 million. That's where your market
Canadian.
That's what US
60 million US.
Yeah,
right
60
now.
million US. So you guys are creeping up, man. But this is to tell you the truth, this is at a minimum, in my opinion, the industry you're in is a $500 million industry just because of healthcare, hospitality, human
Yeah.
emotions, therapy, all that stuff. Just, I mean, one thing, if you look at ChatGPT's data, they said that during the school year, I try to use ChatGPT the first 2 weeks of the school year. It
Yeah.
was almost impossible to get information out because
Too
the
many people
system,
on it.
it's too many people on it. I just believe you're in a great space and you're doing the right thing. And I think, and I hate to say it like this, but when people start to rely more on AI and they get used to your product, your technology, that's when I think it's going to start being I have to have one. I
Right.
need one around my house. And then I think that is the real bell curve. That's the real mass adoption. You know what I mean? And I know you guys, I see that you guys have paid programs. You know what I mean? If you buy one, there's also the software, the 199.
Yep.
Is that correct? And you know what I mean? I read up all of it. And I'm pretty sure in the future, you guys are going to be able to do something where people who can't afford it in full pay will be able to buy it on payment plans and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
We're looking to, there's third-party services basically that'll discount it and provide that service. So we don't even have to take the risk.
Yeah. So you guys already probably worked on that, correct?
We're in process of trying to input that. And again, for your audience, if you want to test out the AI, go to realbotix.com and you can go to Ask Aria. You can have a free conversation with the AI like this through your microphone where she's talking and moving. And again, I'm surprised ChatGPT or these other services don't offer that. And we're the first guys to have that online like this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want you to come back on the show in like
Sure.
1 or 2 quarter, maybe like middle of next year or something, and see how things are going. And I hope like I look at this stock and it's like 90 cents. You know what I mean? That would be
$2. No, $2.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, thank you guys so much for listening, viewing. People who listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and the podcast platform. People that are on YouTube or on my website. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for coming on. I look forward to hoping you come back next year, and we're at $2.
Yes.
We're at $2, man. But thank you so much. Peace.